The mystery surrounding Dan Blocker, the beloved actor who played the giant Hoss Cartwright on the iconic television series Bonanza, has finally been solved. But the truth, after decades of speculation, is anything but comforting. In fact, it is far more tragic and disturbing than fans could ever have imagined. Blocker was more than just a big man on screen, and he was big, physically and vocally, and had a bigger heart. His presence on American television was a permanent part of American television for 13 seasons. He became part of the history and magic of Bonanza through his attractive charm, humor, and emotionally uplifting presence that millions of viewers across the country all depended on seeing in. For many, Hoss Cartwright wasn't just a character from a television show. He became part of the family. Then, in 1972, Blocker died suddenly and at the peak of his career, at the age of 43. The sudden passing of Dan Blocker sent shockwaves through Hollywood and through the hearts of countless fans. The officially stated cause of death was a pulmonary embolism subsequent to what was to be a standard operation on the gallbladder. While it was nonetheless clinical, the abruptness and severity of his passing left generations with the lingering questions, whispers, and rumors. Did something go awry? Could his death have been avoided? As time moved on with the increased amount of medical knowledge and with numerous personal accounts from those closest to Blocker, it has become possible to create a fuller picture. A picture that demonstrates a much more convoluted and tragic story than what was believable at the time of his death. Blocker was experiencing great success in his profession, but privately, he was dealing with a lifetime of serious health challenges. The brawn and girth of his hulking physique defined the Hoss character, but it remained a continual burden on him physically. Weighing in excess of 300 pounds during most of his adult life, Blocker persistently faced chronic health complications that were related to his morbid obesity. These included dangerously high blood pressure, cardiovascular strain, and a whole host of other health complications. Awareness of Blocker's penchant for cheeriness concealed the enormous worry he held internally for his health when in the company of family, and especially friends, who were facing their own mortality and continued to live life to its fullest. As Blocker was approaching 40, these matters were at the forefront of his mind. Mastering substantive concern for both the cosmetic and medical aspects of his weight, doctors and the Wong Group had warned Blocker that father's condition was becoming riskier than cosmetic, and they recommended corrective gallbladder surgery that would relieve painful gallstones and help avoid further complications in the future. The surgery was deemed a low risk, something everyone in the world goes through every day. But in Blocker's case, what was supposed to be a standard procedure quickly turned into a tragic outcome. A blood clot developed post-operatively, passed through the heart, and developed into a pulmonary embolism, and ultimately resulted in sudden and fatal. This is an issue people know happens, but because it is rare, they aren't always prepared for it. In the years since his death, various medical professionals and the family have tried to evaluate whether Blocker received the correct or appropriate care for a patient at risk for DVT. Upon reflection, they think that perhaps other methods were available: closer monitoring of the patient during recovery, more aggressive prevention of thrombosis, more thorough pre-operative assessment on marked patients, now improved training of C&P staff, and better policies on monitoring of thrombosis and reperfusion. In recent years, these considerations have made improvements. They were not commonly used, but, as the early 1970s showed, they have not been helpful in the management of high-risk post-surgical patients. Leading to the loss of Dan Blocker will cause lasting grief and frustration for those who loved him. The thought that his death might have been prevented is a heavy burden on his family and co-workers. It looms over the highly personal loss and tragedy. In addition to the medical tragedy, Blocker's death had a huge emotional impact on all who worked with him. The cast and crew of Bonanza were devastated. Writers and producers were scrambling to change the storyline, struggling to adjust to the loss of one of the show's beloved and iconic characters. But despite their best attempts, Bonanza was never quite the same. It lost its soul. The series ended just one season after he died for his family. The pain was even deeper. His wife Dolia and their 4 children, including future actor Dirk Blocker, were left to try to move on without their husband and father. The unexpectedness of the death. As day-to-day details came to light, and knowing it may have been preventable, made it all the more difficult to process, even after all these years. That pain has never completely gone away for many years now, as all the details unfold of the actual events that led to Dan Blocker's untimely demise. A painful truth has emerged that even the greatest of people, the largest figures, and the biggest personalities can be subject to vulnerabilities. A man that no one saw as coming a Blocker story is a sobering reminder that wealth, fame, and strength do not protect us against poor health missteps. By a medical system still figuring out how to best protect its most vulnerable patients, as loyal fans fondly remember Hoss Cartwright for his kindness, loyalty, and chuckleable charm. The man behind the role had a personal struggle that would end in tragedy, while the full story of Dan Blocker's premature death is one of personal health issues. It's also about medical failures and missed opportunities. It is a legacy of love, laughter, and tragedy. A life that touched millions, yet ended far too